Someone in the circle said, Mary, you do it, you do it. And I said, I can't do it alone, I need some help. And that's when this one here put her hand up. I'll help. I said, okay.
That's right, because we knew each other well by that time.
Right.
Let me share with you my notes from that. The special meeting, my notes say, on a cold and snowy Saturday afternoon was robust in its discussion.
Yeah.
Graduate students, researchers, faculty participated. We acknowledged the need for a caucus to address practical issues.
I was told in graduate school that I could come to this meeting of talking about jobs, but women weren't going to get jobs.
There was a time when women realized that they needed to join together and to collaborate together and to work together to support ourselves.
I started as a liberal feminist, and I thought it's enough, we need the numbers, get into the parliament and so on, get into these departments. But getting into these departments, political science or IR, we have to change the department. It's not just enough to have women, add women and stir kind of thing, of just having women come in. We have to gradually try to change the societies that we're living in so that they're suited not only for the men, but also for us.
It seems like at the time that it was founded, it was a real kind of basic attempt to get this to be an okay place for women to be.
To know that there's this wonderful network of both senior people, mid-career people, and so many young scholars on the tenure track and graduate students who recognize that this is a place where they can get the support that they need.
Meeting others who otherwise I wouldn't meet during my work itself. That's very exciting, and that's been great about the women's being part of the Women's Caucus, because I meet women who do not work on feminist IR necessarily.
And you have fun together, and so it makes this discipline, to me, one I don't want to quit. I mean, I might, if I couldn't go to meetings and do this kind of interaction, I'm not sure I'd still be teaching.
To hear that you are not the only person getting a rejection that has a certain kind of language. We don't publish stuff like this. Our readers don't read this. We don't review material like this.
Not only is pursuit and cultivation and support of diversity the right thing to do, it's also the intellectually challenging thing to do, because that's where the good ideas are coming from. It's not from talking to and with people who are doing the same things as I do. It's about getting that cross-fertilization, talking about the ways you think about things, the way I think about things, the way 17 other people think about things, and it's only at that point that we get these really good ideas and start to think in ways that are productive and advancing knowledge and advancing scholarship and moving both intellectual and policy agendas forward. We're not going to do that if we're all listening to the same people all the time.
If you looked at the caucus when 4 or 5 years ago, it was rapidly aging. Not many young women were coming in. Not many women knew that the Women's Caucus was a caucus for all women, independent from the kind of research they did. And it wasn't just reaching out to a sort of the wide variety of women that are at the ISA, including women from outside of North America. We wanted that space to be the space where women of color coming from everywhere would feel welcome.
What are the concerns of women in the profession at this particular point in time? What are some of the conversations that we need to continue to have and have over and over again, because women are still facing many of the same issues that they have been facing for the last 20 years that the caucus has existed, but also to think about how has what women in the profession need changed as ISA becomes more globally inclusive.
What I did bring is a curiosity about what has happened. Each of us only sees our slice from our view at 7:30 in the morning. And in fact, the history of the Women's Caucus is all of those slices together. we're not going to be able to piece together the history from a few people trying to remember. And we're certainly not going to be able to rely on people remembering necessarily what other people did. So it would be very helpful if those of us with memories or things that we want to make sure stay memories shared them. And I think that this interview process is a lovely opportunity. The interviews are going to be archived in their entirety, but we'll also be able to assemble a documentary that'll help us see the collective that's been the Women's Caucus, given that none of us has been able to see that from our own individual vantage point. And I think that's the gift of collaboration.